All right, let's dive in. Pretty much everything about our modern lives, where we live, how we work, the stuff we own, it all has an origin story. And today, we're going to crack that story open. We are talking about the Industrial Revolution, the absolute game changer that forged the world we know. So let's get into it. Seriously, have you ever just stopped and wondered, why a 9 to 5? Why do most of us commute to a specific place to work? Why is our day sliced up into hours that we trade for money? And how did we end up in a world where almost nothing we own is made by someone we know? Well, believe it or not, the answer to all of those questions, it all starts right here. You see, before this whole revolution kicked off, life and work were, well, completely different. It was all about what's called the cottage industry. Basically, you worked from home. You set your own pace. You got paid for what you made, not for how many hours you put in. The new way? The factory system. That was a total 180. Suddenly, you're in a factory, you're working by the clock, producing stuff on a scale nobody had ever seen before. And that huge, fundamental shift, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Okay, so before we get to the fireworks and the chaos of the revolution, we really have to understand what the world was like before. We've got to paint a picture of this, well, this much quieter world. So picture this. Forget factories, forget assembly lines. Most of the stuff being made, especially things like cloth, was happening in people's living rooms. A family would get a bunch of raw wool or cotton, and then, right there in their own cottage, they'd spend days, maybe even weeks, spinning it to thread, then weaving that thread into fabric. The whole operation was happening under one roof. It was slow, sure. It was totally decentralized, and it was all tangled up with family life. But the key thing to get here is that this system, it's kind of like making a big family dinner from scratch, every single night in your own kitchen. You control everything. The ingredients, the timing, the pace. Now, the factory system we're about to see, that's like someone inventing the very first fast food assembly line. And yeah, it changed absolutely everything. So, this all leads to the big question, right? Why Britain? Out of all the places in the world, why did this revolution ignite on this one small island, right around the late 1700s? Well, it wasn't an accident. Turns out Britain had cooked up the absolute perfect storm of ingredients. And this is where it gets really fascinating, because it wasn't just one thing, it was how all these pieces fit together. Think of it like a recipe. First, you've got tons of coal and iron, literally the fuel and the building blocks for machines. Then you have this huge colonial empire that's feeding you cheap raw materials like cotton, and at the same time giving you a massive market to sell all your finished goods to. All that trade, it created a ton of money, capital, just sitting there ready for people to invest in new, crazy ideas. And speaking of ideas, there was this whole culture of invention and science. People were encouraged to tinker. On top of all that, the government was pretty stable, which is a huge deal for business. And the final kicker? Changes in farming had pushed tons of people off the land, so you had this huge, ready-made workforce just waiting for jobs in the new factories. And that right there is the key. It wasn't just the coal or just the inventors. Any one of those things on its own wouldn't have done it. It was the magic of having all of those ingredients in the same place at the same time, all bubbling away together. Each one made the others more powerful. That's what lit the fuse. Okay, so the stage is set. Britain has all the ingredients for this massive change. The only thing missing was the spark, the technology that could take all that potential and just unleash it. And boy, did it arrive. It came in this rapid-fire explosion of innovation. And it all kicked off in the textile industry. Check this out. In 1764, you get the spinning jenny. Suddenly, one worker can do the work of 8. A huge deal. Just 5 years later, you get Arkwright's water frame, which is like the spinning jenny on steroids, powered by a river. This is the moment work has to move out of the cottage and into a building by the water, the first factory. Then boom, 1785, the power loom automates the weaving. So think about that. In just about 20 years, a single generation, an entire way of life, an entire industry was literally ripped out of people's homes and put onto a machine. And this is so, so important to understand. These weren't just slightly better tools. They weren't just a faster way to do the old thing. No way. They were the blueprints for a completely new kind of society. A society that would be built around the factory, not the family hearth. So this new world emerges, and yeah, it brought progress, it brought wealth, it brought things people had never dreamed of. But it also came with the dark side, a really dark side. It created a way of living that was just completely alien to anyone alive at the time. Think about this for a second. For pretty much all of human history, People made things and sold them. Now, for the first time ever, huge numbers of people started selling their time. Your life wasn't measured by the sun coming up or the seasons changing anymore. Your life was now ruled by the shriek of the factory whistle, by the tick-tock of the clock, and by the constant grinding pace of a machine that never got tired. And this new way of life acted like a magnet, pulling millions of people out of the countryside. Just look at Manchester, which was kind of the Silicon Valley of its day. Its population grew by, get this, 1,400% in under 100 years. That is just mind-boggling. It's a kind of migration humanity had never, ever seen before. Whole cities just exploded into existence seemingly overnight. But what were these brand new cities actually like? Well, they were often hell on earth. This quote from the Time really cuts through the numbers, doesn't it? These places were creating unbelievable fortunes for a few, but for the many, they were just brutal, full of pollution, sickness, and a kind of misery that's hard to imagine. And the inequality was just stark. You can see it right here in the most brutal way possible. How long you got to live. If you were a professional, maybe you'd make it to 38. But a factory worker, your life expectancy could be as low as 17. 17 years old. Let that sink in. The incredible wealth of this new age was built on the backs of people who barely lived long enough to become adults. It was not shared equally, not even close. Okay, so that was all a long time ago, right? Why should we care? What does all this smoke and steam and suffering have to do with us today? Well, here's the thing. It has everything to do with us, because the world they built back then is, in so many fundamental ways, the world we've all inherited. So what exactly did we inherit? Let's break it down. First, the fact that most of us live in cities? That started here. That mass migration to places like Manchester never stopped. It just went global. Second, our entire consumer culture. The idea that you can just go out and buy affordable stuff anytime you want? That's a direct consequence of the mass production born in these factories. And third, and this is a big one, the modern idea of a job. Having a workplace you go to, having a boss, having a fixed workday and a wage, all of it, the entire package, was designed for one reason: to make the factory system work. So this system, born out of the Industrial Revolution, has basically defined how the world works for the last 250 years. But things are changing again, aren't they? With AI, with automation, with a total shift to remote work for so many, it feels like we're on the edge of another massive transformation. Which leaves us with a really big